All right, my friends, today we are talking about online dating success here in the Philippines, specifically on the app Tinder. And that's the only app I used while I was here on the ground. So if you're using another one, a lot of these same tactics can apply. But I was only using the app Tinder here when I first got here to the Philippines. And yes, the thumbnail of this video is real. The thumbnail that I have up there, that was a screenshot of my Tinder account just before I closed the account in March 2024. And that was showing 5,193 likes that I received in just over 100 days here in the Metro Manila area. Now, I wound up actually deleting out a lot of my matches and just kind of clearing out my inbox. So when I got to about December, I had kind of reset everything. So those last 100 days is what that screenshot is showing. And that pretty much basically, when I went back and looked at the numbers, that was over 50 matches per day I was getting. So really, my goal of this video is that a couple of things. I want to share with you the details behind my dating profile on Tinder, the filters and search criteria that I had set up, and I also want to give you some tips on how I went up personally communicating with girls on Tinder and how I went up arranging dates. So let's go ahead and dive into the details. All right, so I set up my account within the first few weeks of being here in Manila. It was around October 2023. And I was told by other expats when I was doing this, I said, hey, I'm going to jump on Tinder. They just laughed. They were like, good luck, this is going to become a full-time job. And yeah, I didn't know what I was getting into. And honestly, I didn't believe them. But oh, how wrong I was. This consumed my time. So yeah, I wound up actually purchasing the Tinder Gold account, the 6 months Tinder Gold account. And all the settings in my profile were true. So I had real pictures of me up there, and they were recent pictures. I think just a few were before I got here to the Philippines, but most of them were locally. My real age, I had no AI, no filters, anything like that on there. And the filters I set up was I chose women between the ages of 21 and 39. That was my initial setup. And then a few months later, I switched that to 21 to 49 to kind of date some women closer to my age group. I selected the radius of 30 kilometers here in the Metro Manila area, which is about 18 miles. I just wanted to kind of stick within the city. And then other search criteria was absolutely non-smoking and no drugs, nothing like that. In fact, I wish kind of Tinder had a specific filter that you could choose no tattoos or no piercings. Got something small, discreet, I understand that, but I'm just not a fan of tattoos on women, so that's just my personal thing. But yeah, I wish they had a filter like that, but for the most part, I mean, those were everything that was set up. And quite honestly, almost immediately, I wound up meeting several beautiful and intelligent women on the app, and I went on many, many dates. And yes, this is, other vloggers out there will call this is the kid in the candy store time frame. You're getting tons of attention, you're getting tons of conversations, and I had, success back in the States dating, but it was nothing like it was here. And I'm kind of the person that I like to date one person at a time. So I'm not one to juggle multiple girlfriends or do anything like that. It's just not my style. I'm more of a, go on a date, meet somebody, chat with them, go on a date or two. If there's a connection there, rinse, repeat. And then if not, continue chatting with some other girls and stuff. But that's just my own personal style. But this did become a full-time job. And yeah, it was a lot of work keeping up with all the messages. I mean, I would wake up in the morning, I'd roll out of bed, grab my phone, and just, I'd flip it on, and all of a sudden it was like 50 plus messages waiting for you, matches, all this. And it's just like, oh, how am I going to manage all this? And like I said, I kept going through and just deleting out my inbox, and it got just overwhelming. So let me give you some advice on exactly how I went up communicating with some of these girls and how I went up setting up dates. So the first thing you're going to come across, and it's just normal here, and I think this is very common, not just in Philippines, but a lot of places internationally, even in South America and stuff like that, you're going to come across a number of girls, working girls, basically. And I'll just say this, always be respectful. Please be respectful. So I don't know what people's situations are. I don't want to impose any judgments on them or anything. And if you're somebody who's looking for that, hey, that's on you. Great, go for it, but it wasn't what I was looking for. But again, you will run into a number of girls looking for more transactional style relationships. And in the communications, just be respectful, okay? Because, here's the thing. What I wound up finding is you never know when you're going to cross paths with people, and the last thing you want to be is that guy basically like at a pub or something, and some girl at the bar there who may be a working girl, or just maybe you just treated her that way to kind of, be, hey, I matched with that guy a month ago, 2 months ago, and he was a jerk to me. Just don't be that guy, all right? Just a little advice from an older guy here, all right? The first thing is you'll get they'll reach out to you right away. You'll get a heart, a smiley face, something like that. Then they will quickly ask you something like this. They'll ask you, where are you staying? Which is different than where do you live, right? So the where are you staying kind of comment is, okay, what hotel are you at? So they're thinking you're in town for 30 days, 60 days, something like that. Where are you staying? Can we arrange something? That's an immediate flag that I noticed that pops up often. Another one is they're going to try to get you off the dating app very quickly, right? I tend to like to take conversations off dating apps after a little while. So after I've had a couple days conversation with somebody, I want to move it to a more platform where I can have more connection with them, because I'm not on the apps all the time. Even when I had the app, I wasn't on there every day. But they're going to try to take it to Viber or Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or something. And the working girls, you'll see, will very quickly ask you, hey, where are you staying? Oh, do you have WhatsApp? Do you have Viber? Because what they're trying to do is get off basically the app so you don't report them, and then they have to recreate another whole profile. It happens very quickly. And now, if you suspect somebody is, looking for this transactional relationship, this is typically how I start out communicating with them. And I just simply ask right up front, and I'm very upfront about this, but also very respectful. I just message them almost exactly this quote. I'll say, just so there's no misunderstandings, just so we understand each other, are you a working girl? I have no judgments, all respect. I just want to make sure that, we understand each other. And another way of saying this, again, like I said, you could say, are you looking for a transactional relationship, whatever, right? But I will ask that very much right up front, especially if they're a little aggressive with me about trying to get me off the app or something. And you'd be surprised. They're actually really respectful. A lot of girls who are in this situation, they will reach out and say, this is what I'm looking for, and they actually appreciate that you're just kind of like, hey, I have no judgments. I just want to make sure the conversation goes smoothly. Right up front what the situation is, and then I will always respond back, because that's something I wasn't looking for. So I always responded back with something like, hey, thank you for your honesty. It's not what I'm looking for. I do wish the best. Please be safe out there. And just kind of a little smiley face, something like that. Now, what do you do if you've got a legit match? Okay, you match with somebody and you want to communicate with them. Here's something that I do in my conversation starters. So I keep my intro very, very simple. I usually use whatever name that they have in their profile. I'll say, like, hi, Mary, or hi, Josephine 991, or, whatever their name is, in the profile, say something like that. And then I'll say, hey, I'm happy we matched. It's nice to connect with you, something, and I leave it open-ended, right? I do that in a way to see if they're going to engage with me, okay? What I highly recommend you guys don't do is don't ask close-ended questions. How are you doing? What are you doing? What are you up to today? First off, they're stupid, okay? It shows the girls that you have no ability to have any sort of communication skills. You just don't want to do that. You want to ask them questions more specifically around, and get them to engage with you. What I mean by that, here's the thing. If I say to them, how are you, right? The response back is going to be one word. Okay, what are you doing? Nothing. What are you up to? Bored. The conversation goes nowhere. All right. So you want to take the conversation in, a way that doesn't have those closed-ended questions, right? Because it comes across, like I said, as kind of just a weak conversation, and it goes nowhere. All right. So instead, come back with something a little more specific. For example, like I said, I will usually start off and say, hi, it's great to connect with you. Leave it at that. Let them respond back. Usually it's something like, hey, I'm glad we connected too. Great. Now we have a dialogue going on. Okay. Another thing I'll say often is I'll be like, oh, are you at work? Or something like, are you at work now? Are you at the office now? Or are you at work? Or are you off today? I'll give them those ultimatum choices, right? Because it does a few things here. What it does is asking something like that, are you at work now or off today? Now they're going to come back and they can say, oh no, I worked earlier, I'm off now, or yeah, I'm on my break, or that, it also lets you know if they're working or not. They could say, oh no, I don't work, I'm living with family right now. It creates that kind of engagement and conversation. And local Filipinos do this all the time here. When I'm out shopping at the malls and stuff and I'm looking at something, even if it's like, men's shirts, all right, so many times Filipinos will come up to me and they'll, helping me out there in the store and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, are you shopping for your wife? I'm looking at men's shirts. It's obviously I'm shopping for myself, but they do this in a way to engage with us, to kind of see, what my response is going to be. And I'll be, oh no, I'm single. I don't have a wife. Oh really? And they take it that way. So guys, take a clue from them. They're a lot smarter than you think. And so yeah, just it's what it is. So okay, the next thing I tend to do after I get this this conversation going a little bit is I will quickly jump into asking them very specifically, what are you looking for on this app? What are you looking for on Tinder? What are you looking for if you're on Bumble? What are you looking for on Bumble? Right? And that lets me gauge their response, right? And what I mean by gauging their response is, are they someone who has are they frustrated? Are they open? Are they happy? Because, some girls that I will ask that question to, they'll just come back and they'll just be like, I'm looking for a long-term relationship. And okay, that's, it depends on how they say it, but a lot of times that's like a red flag, like, ooh, they've been hurt before. Because they're narrowing their focus down. And a lot of times I kind of, in a sense, have fun with a phrase like that. I'm like, well, I kind of looking for long-term too, but you kind of have to date first before you get there. And then, sometimes the response is playful, where they're like, yeah, I get that. Or I've had responses back saying something like that, where they're just like, well, I'm not stupid. And at that point, they've just shot themselves in the foot, because they're showing me that they have there's something going on there I don't want to have to kind of put up with or deal with. But anyway, I tend to look for responses and kind of read meaning into those. Now, if you are looking for a short-term relationship or just companionship, tell them. Okay, hey, I'm in town for 30 days. I've got this weekend free. I'd love somebody to show me around, stuff like that, and I like to go on a couple dates and stuff like that. Are you open for that? Just honesty is the key here. Okay, and the other important factor, if you're on the ground here, boots on the ground, your job is to take this communication on an app offline. You want to be on a date within your first 1 to 2 weeks. You just do. It happens fast here. So if you're not ready to date and you just want to start chatting and having a conversation with people, most of the people you're going to wind up connecting with, if you're here locally, they're going to talk to you for a little bit, and then they realize, hey, they're already here. They're probably talking 20 other girls, so I'm just going to kind of move on. If you are overseas, right? Yes, you can start that long distance relationship because they understand you haven't arrived here yet. But again, if you're here locally, they're going to expect you to be asking them on a date within that first 1 and 2 weeks. Now, that's my style. That's how I tend to kind of communicate here. I like to take, like I said, get it offline pretty quick, but I will use some of those conversations to gauge kind of their, their emotional state in a sense, and also just their openness to kind of what they're looking for. And then also looking for those red flags, specifically if there's, I'm coming across working girls or something like that, always treating them with respect, because, you never know what's people's situations like. Anyway, my friends, I hope that helps. There's a little insight into some of my Tinder adventures here. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.